Nolan Arenado has been traded from the St. Louis Cardinals to the Arizona Diamondbacks in exchange for Jack Martinez. Let's talk about it. Happy New Year. First upload since the 12 days of MLB rankings. Thank you guys for showing up and continuing to support what I do over here on GiraffeNeckMarc, as well as the windup. You guys have been showing amazing love everywhere. Really do appreciate you. Before I do get going into this trade, make sure you do subscribe to my channel. Click that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of the baseball content. I took my little break. Now we're back, ready to start rolling as we get closer and closer to the beginning of the season. So off the rip, real quick, Jack Martinez, 8th round pick in the draft last year out of Arizona State. Throws weird, throws insane. His mechanics are all over the place, but he throws 97 and has like 4 different pitches. That's all you got to know. He was a throw-in. Essentially, the Cardinals wanted to salary dump Nolan Arenado any way they possibly could. And going with Arenado to the Arizona Diamondbacks is also $31 million. So the Diamondbacks will be paying Arenado $5 and $6 million over the next 2 years, respectively. That's cheap. That's absolutely free. And kind of makes sense. Nolan Arenado is definitely not the player that he once was. He is not same prime Arenado. Still great defensively at third base. I still weirdly am talking myself into liking this move more and more for the Diamondbacks as we go on, despite all the underlying numbers telling you that Nolan Arenado is cooked. He's got nothing. He's got nothing left in the tank. It just doesn't seem like you're going to get that same hitting version of Nolan Arenado ever. I kind of like the move to Arizona. First off, this is like one of the last 5 third basemen the Diamondbacks have signed that have been kind of out of their prime, a little bit older. Eugenio Suarez is, I guess, kind of not in the same category, but remember when they had Evan Longoria at one point? They've cycled through some older third basemen, Arenado being the next guy that they put at that position because it is a bit of a hole right now. I think Blaze Alexander probably would have been their third baseman, or maybe even Jordan Lawler going into the season. This buys a little bit more time for those guys to figure out what they're going to look like at the major league level. Not as much pressure on them immediately. But again, truthfully, I don't know why I like this, because let's just talk about the stuff that's concerning with Nolan Arenado. That makes this trade go, well, kind of who cares, right? Because Nolan Arenado was not good last year, and he was definitely not good the year before, but last year was shockingly bad. So last year, he played in 107 games. It was kind of the first time in his entire major league career he wasn't actually healthy for the full year. 12 homers, 18 doubles, 52 RBIs, hit 237, which is by far a career low. 289 on base is shocking. 377 slug is by far the lowest in his career. For a 666 OPS, the devil's number, OPS plus 87. Outside of the COVID year, it's really the first time in Arenado's entire career that he's been below league average since his rookie season back in 2013. He's going into his 35-year-old season next year. There definitely are some concerns. And again, injured for the first time in his career, really. The numbers were bad. The on-base was below 300 for the first time. The slug was below 400 for the second time, second year in a row, and the OPS started with the 6. That's really, really bad. On top of that, we've seen the max exit velos take a massive drop the last few years. Hasn't reached 110 miles an hour with an exit velo since the 2023 season. That's concerning. The average exit velo is some of the lowest in all of Major League Baseball. He was in the bottom 10% last year. Average exit velo, 86.8. I'm not normally a huge average exit velo guy, but when it's that low, that's a bit concerning. Now, he is hitting the ball in the air. That's something to keep note of. And he's not striking out. I believe this was one of the lowest K rates of his entire career last year at 11.2%. Never been a huge walk guy, but still wasn't very good at walking last year. Worse than league average, 6.4%. I mentioned the glove is still great, 3 OAA. It's not the level where it's been, but also he only played in 100 games, so it's tough for him to accumulate more OAA as the season goes on. This is definitely not the same Nolan Arenado. Based on his swing speed and based on the contact that he makes, he does technically still square up the ball pretty consistently. And I do think in a much more favorable hitter park, Arizona versus St. Louis, this could play in Nolan Arenado's favor. I think on a team where he doesn't need to be one of the better hitters, you still have Ketel Marte, you still have Corbin Carroll, you still have Geraldo Perdomo. I think being one of the back-end options towards the back end of this lineup, I don't think that's a bad move for the Diamondbacks, who really just kind of need to raise their floor. There was a lot of question marks about who would even play third base going into this season. At least now you know you are going to get premium defense at the position, and I think realistically at best you probably get a league average bat. I don't see much underlying stuff that makes me excited for Nolan Arenado to get even close to being about an 800 OPS like he was a few years ago. Just seems like right now, if that OPS starts with a 7, going to be feeling pretty good about Arenado's 2026. And maybe that's what the Diamondbacks just need. Like I said, they need to raise that floor, because one of the problems last year was that they just had a lot of holes everywhere. And while Arenado's not great, I think he does raise that floor. One thing to know about Arenado, while his bat speed for the full year came out to not being very good, a little bit below average, there were points in the season where he did get that bat speed to around the 72 mark, which is about league average. And if Arenado can swing the bat still league average, that's huge. The problem was that at the end of the year, after coming back from the injury in September, he was taking very, very, very soft swings. Some of the slowest swings in baseball, 70.6. For context, it's not the worst. Like, there are some still good players who have an average bat speed around there. It's a lot of contact first guys. You see Freddie Freeman, who has an average bat speed around 70 miles an hour. Jonathan Aranda was great last year, around 70 miles an hour. So you can still be a productive player with a slower bat speed. But I do think for Arenado to ever get back maybe even to being above league average, that bat speed does have to go up because the quality of contact's just not very good. I do wonder how much of the injury played into his performance down the stretch, because if you kind of take away the month of July, granted 61 plate appearances is not the biggest sample, that was by far the worst he played last year. He was literally terrible, and then of course he hit the IL. He was about a league average bat. Just the second half of the season was so bad, and July kind of carried that. I don't know. I can just convince myself into thinking that Nolan Arenado, again, can be a league average hitter with premium defense at third base, still got that glove, still got that cannon of an arm. Well, I guess not truly. The arm was a little bit worse than it has been, but still, he makes incredible plays at third, and he's in a much better hitter's environment. I like it. I think I do like this move, and again, the Diamondbacks are paying him $5 to $6 million a year to play third base. Context is really key. They gave up nobody. Like, Jack Martinez throws 97, but the mechanics are all over the place, and he's not even a top 30 prospect on any of the lists that I've been seeing between Baseball America and Pipeline. If we look at infielders that have signed contracts and are getting paid around $5 to $6 million, obviously I have Ozzie Albies in there, who's kind of the, I want to say, like, the outlier, but like Edmundo Sosa makes $4.5 million a year. Zach McKinstry makes $4 million. If we specifically want to look at third baseman, the only real comps are kind of Ernie Clement. Like, Alec Boehm's getting $10 million this year. Key Brian Hayes is getting paid like $8.5 million. So yeah, can Nolan Arenado be between Key Brian Hayes and Ernie Clement in terms of value? I actually think that's exactly where he lines up right now. Both those guys have great gloves. Both those guys hopefully can be around league average hitters. Key Brian Hayes more so is not a good hitter, and the glove carries him. But Ernie Clement, like, why can't Arenado give us an Ernie Clement type season? Puts the ball in play a ton in a much more favorable hitter's ballpark, and the Diamondbacks gave up nothing. I think this is a completely fine trade for the D-backs. I'd love to know what you guys are thinking about it down in the comment section below. Just some other quick housekeeping things, because again, I just want to talk with you guys. It's been a few weeks. Huge shout out to all the amazing support that you showed on the 12 Days of MLB rankings. I really do appreciate it. I do think I'm due for kind of a revamp of them next year. They're not going anywhere. I think I just need to probably alter the title and thumbnail a little bit. It's been going forever now, and there's just so many of them online. I think I've almost uploaded 100 videos that fall into the 12 Days of MLB rankings. I've been uploading a lot on the windup. I see questions. Are you leaving GiraffeNeckMarc? Absolutely not. The windup is just a place where me and my friend James can kind of talk more in-depth baseball. GiraffeNeckMarc's going to be more about the bangers. The windup's going to be more about everyday baseball type conversations, along with the fact that it's always nice to have a second voice. You guys have heard me scream into the void for 7-8 years now, talking about where I rank players and tier lists and all my opinions. It's always good to get another voice in there. James helps out with there a lot. So if you are interested in the windup, make sure you subscribe down in the comment section below. I think 2026 is going to be a pretty big year. I know I don't normally give you guys a little peek behind the curtains here, but starting up some really big things. Again, if you've noticed, the windup is doing a lot of short form content. You might have also noticed that there are some other channels and other niches that are popping up that look very, very similar to the windup. Hint, hint. If you can connect the dots there, I'll probably make an announcement a little bit later, but just keep an eye out for that. And just really excited for the 2026 season. So once again, thank you guys so much for the amazing support. I really do appreciate all the guys that watch this, the windup, Mets up, whatever it is. Thank you so much for allowing me to do what I do as a job. I know I took like a 3-week break. Kind of do that. It's been a completely dead period for baseball, so that's kind of why. But expect to see more and more uploads as we get closer and closer to the season starting. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe to GiraffeNeckMarc, subscribe to the windup, subscribe to Mets Up. Links will be in the description to everything. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace out. Bye.